Alright, so I got a hold of one of the Franklin Armory BFS III binary triggers for AR-15. Installed it correctly, the way it should be, and it didn't function in binary at all. Then I started looking on the internet to see if there were any quick fixes, remedies to this problem. Turns out that this is a common problem, and a lot of guys found that they could polish the components and get it to work. In my case, I couldn't polish it enough to make it work. I actually had to take the back of the IDS sear and file close to 1/8 of an inch off the back of it, because whenever the hammer would come down, it would reset that IDS to in the position it needed to be for binary mode, but when the hammer continued to fall, as if the bolt was riding across the top of it, it would hit the back of that IDS and force it back forward. And so it disabled it and put it back in semi-auto only. So I had to file the back of that off, or you could Dremel it, and until it would clear that and not touch it. It doesn't change the function of the trigger whatsoever. It's not, going to be full auto or anything like that. It just enabled it to stay in binary mode. And so if you have this problem, I'll show you a video of how it's supposed to work, and I'll show you a picture of the IDS so you know what it looks like. By all means, polish everything because it needs it. It's pretty rough. For the money that you spend on a BFS III, probably not worth it. I have not had these issues with echo triggers, and so I tend to lean that direction, and you don't get hammer follow with echo triggers. So take that for what it's worth. I wanted to give one of these a try, and I've decided never would again. So if you want to fix it and you're having this problem, maybe this is your issue. Just look and see if your hammer is resetting your IDS, and if it is, then you'll know that you're gonna have to file off the back of it until it clears. So I'll show you some video clips of what it's supposed to look like in the pictures following this. Alright, I want you to watch this very carefully, because this is how this mechanism works for semi-auto only. If this IDS is forward, it will only be semi-auto. When you put it into semi-auto mode on your selector switch, it holds this forward, so it can't move to the rear. When you put in the binary selector switch position, whenever you cycle the weapon and the bolt comes to the rear, the hammer will come down, and it is going to reset that IDS. Watch it move. And it's going to move to the rear under spring tension, the IDS spring, and that's going to allow it to fire in binary mode. So then you're only engaging this sear. Okay. So what happened is that there was too much material on the IDS right here. It was closer to out here. It was kind of rounded. And so I had to file that down. I put it in my vise and I just filed it until it would clear, and now it works properly. So that's likely the cause of most of the issues with the BFS III, other than just rough metal surfaces or rough coating surfaces. And so that may be the approach that you need to take to resolve this. Again, it was more out here where the end of my punch is. So I'll show you what I mean by the hammer. When the hammer would come down in this area, it would reset this IDS, but then it would continue down and push it back forward. Now you could groove out one side of your hammer right there so it wouldn't engage that, or you can do what I've done and file the back of the IDS off. Functions test, safety, semi-auto, binary, again so you can see the trigger working. Held to the rear, latch, release. And that's what fixed the BFS III by Franklin Armory.